Thank you, ma'am, and good morning to you all. On behalf of West Bank, I extend a very warm welcome and hearty greetings to our chairperson, Professor Ramesh Chand, Honorable Member Niti Aayog, and all distinguished dignitaries present on the dais, and all the people who are attending here today. The presentation that I'm going to take you through is about 10 minutes, and the focus of this presentation is basically to come out with the statistics and numbers on how the Indian soybean sector is overall playing out. I'll quickly take you through the supply trends. I'll touch upon the trade trends and domestic consumption. And one of the exercises we attempted was to try and arrive at what would be the soya food market size. So we have come out with a market estimate based on discussions with the industry. I'll take you through those numbers and conclude by quickly touching upon the role of soybean or soya food in nutritional security and the importance of promoting soya food for the overall economy, Indian economy. Soybean is the largest oilseed crop in the world. It is cultivated in about 113 countries. About 80 million farmers cultivate this, and in India, about 5 million farmers cultivate soya. We're the fifth largest producers of soya in the world. From an oilseed crop perspective, soybean is the most important oilseed in our country. It occupies about 43% of acreage under oilseeds and provides for about 36% of production of oilseeds. Over the last 10 years, the acreage under soya increased from about 11 million hectares to about 13 million hectares. It was an absolute growth of about 19%. Production increased by about 46%. But is this good enough if you compare it with the other oilseed crops? We see that while the acreage has increased in tandem with the total oilseeds, about 1.7% CAGR over the last 10 years, production has increased just by 3.9%, whereas oilseed production has increased by 4.5%, and yield has increased by 2.1% compared to 2.7% in oilseed. So productivity, as has been discussed, is a key challenge here. Productivity benchmarking, a global benchmarking indicates that India productivity is just about 40% of global average. We're at about 1.1 tons per hectare at this point of time. Global average is 2.7 tons per hectare. And there are countries that produce 3.5 tons per hectare, Brazil and US. But what is more interesting is there enough focus on soya productivity? If you look at India crop yield is to global crop yield comparison for three crops, soya, maize, and rice, you'll see that over the last 20 years, soya's productivity has remained almost the same vis-a-vis global productivity comparison, that ratio. We are at around 40% of global. Crops such as maize, they have grown from about 39%, which was lower than soya, to about 60% now. Rice, of course, from 74% to 91%. There are certain crops, for instance, groundnut, where we are more than 100%. We are probably better than global average. So productivity is probably one of the most important area of focus for us to be able to address the soybean market. A quick look at the geographic distribution of acreage production and productivity. Madhya Pradesh is the largest cultivator of soybean, followed by Maharashtra. Between these two states, about 85% of acreage is covered. We also have Rajasthan, Karnataka, and Gujarat cultivating soybean. In terms of production, Maharashtra is the largest, followed by Madhya Pradesh. So primarily, Maharashtra is, productivity is better than Madhya Pradesh, more than 60% more than Madhya Pradesh. And we also have Rajasthan, Karnataka, and Gujarat among the top 5. What is important to note is the distribution of productivity across states. There are certain states like Telangana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, where the productivity is higher than the national average, and there are certain states which are very large producers like Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, where productivity is low. So how do we address this? Is probably one area you might want to discuss. A quick look at price trends. Soybean prices. Typically, the global price of soybean has been lower than the India mandi price, except for 1 or 2 years. Indian prices for soybean have been higher than the global prices. The MSB, typically the mandi price hovers around the MSP, slightly above the MSP, but last 1.5 years, the last 2 years has been an anomaly, and mandi prices are lower than MSP as of date. So this can be attributed to the significant, drop in prices for soya meal, primarily because of competition from DDGs. So what is important in this case is how do we diversify away from soya meal towards food and other products. A quick look at farmer income, soybean versus other crops. The cost of cultivation of soybean, national average for India, is about 43,500 rupees per hectare. This is quite lower than competing crops like tuar, arahar, maize, cotton, and groundnut. But if you look at the returns, that is, how much do I get for every 1 rupee of investment as a farmer? Soybean gives about 45% returns. Vis-a-vis, it's almost same as cotton. Cotton is riskier than soybean, so probably there are chances of cotton converting into soybean. But compare it with maize, or compare it with groundnut, or compare it with arahar, they are better in terms of returns for the farmer. These returns, of course, differ from state to state. There are certain states like Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan where the productivity is low. Here, the returns is about 16,500 rupees per hectare. And other states like Maharashtra and Karnataka, the return could go up to 27,000 rupees per hectare. So that is on the supply side. A quick look at trade. India is a net importer of soya complex. We import about 4.6 billion USD. In 2024, we touched 4.6 billion USD import of soya, and we exported about 1.2 billion. What is important here is to look at the mix of export and import. The 80% of soya export is in the form of meal. We export protein. And 90% of what we import is soya oil. So we import oil and export protein. So again, this is an area where we could look at why is the demand not there in India to utilize it in India. Coming to demand, a quick look at the consumption trends. Over the last 10 years, the overall offtake of domestically produced soya has grown about 3.8%, from 8.9 million metric tons to about 13 million metric tons. The growth of soya oil, of course, has been the highest, 4.9%, followed by soya meal. The drivers for consumption have been poultry consumption, and of course, increased oil consumption. But what is important is what we miss when we do an overall dialogue is the share of direct human food consumption, the growth in share of direct human food consumption of soya. So this has grown from 3.8% 10 years back to 5.8%. That translates to from about 0.35 million metric tons to about 0.75 million metric tons, or 0.7 million metric tons. So this is a decent growth, about 8% growth over the last decade. What we wanted to find out is what is the actual distribution of soya, when the crushed soya, and how much actually goes into food. And what we realized is about 12.6% of domestically produced bean is utilized for food, of which 5% comes from direct food that without going into crushers, and about 7.8% comes through crushers. Again, where is the demand, or where is the volume going? The main volume is TSP. About 7.4 lakh or 7.5 lakh metric tons of soya is or could be utilized for TSP. So TSP contributes to 50% of the food offtake from soya, followed by whole bean, which contributes about 30%, followed by defatted flour, which contributes about 10%. So between these three products, we have a 90% market share in terms of volume. We are missing out on utilizing the potential of full-fat flour, soya milk and tofu, and concentrated isolates, which are very good, in terms of nutritional characteristics. I'll skip the soya meal, oil, and bean because that is typically what is usually discussed. I'll go back into an estimation that we've done on the market size. We estimate that in discussion with the industry and a number of experts, we find that this market size is about 1 lakh crore in 2024. And it could touch about 1.9 lakh crores by 2035 if the right promotion of food can happen. If we assume that oil and feed would grow at about 5% over the next 10 years, and if food can grow at about 11%, then the soya food market size can grow from about 11,500 crores to about 35,500 crores. And what would be the impact on economy? We believe that this could lead to an additional offtake of about 12 million metric tons of soya, an additional farmer output of about 78,000 crores, an additional gross farmer return of about 26,000 crores, 5,000 more processing units, primarily in the food space, and 10,000 crores of investment, and an employment generation of more than 52,000 people. So just to sum up, what is very important is for us to focus on promoting the nutritional benefits of soya, especially for food. Protein deficiency is a key challenge in India, and that has been discussed in the by previous speakers. Soya is a fantastic oil, very good for our health, but also a very, very rich and economical source of protein, which was very well covered by Suresh. And it is, to just conclude, we believe that soya is a golden bean. The crop characteristics, nutritious bean, diverse usage, nitrogen fixing property, climate resilience, these are all make it fantastic bean. It can address specific national challenges such as protein deficiency, the import status of our oil, and the need for a low-cost, low-risk, sustainable crop. And promoting soya-based food aligns well with our national priorities, nutritional security, Atmanirbhar in oil, doubling farmer income, MSME focus if you're focusing on food, and sustainable agriculture. The key challenges that we need to address is low yield, the processing infrastructure mismatch, where the capacity utilization is very low, there's fragmented food processing, and lack of modern technology. But again, the most important area to be addressed is the demand dynamics, where the vagaries of oil and meal prices are killing the industry and killing the farmer, and poor consumer awareness is not letting the overall growth of the sector. Just to conclude, there is a need for the soya that we're targeting, and we need to drive national attention to soya and strongly promote consumption of soya food. Thank you very much.